Since the late 1960s, a bloody 30-year guerrilla war was waged throughout Northern Ireland, leaving over 3,600 dead. Commonly referred to as the Troubles, this period is defined by the conflict between Catholic Republican and Nationalists and Protestant Loyalists and Unionists. Catholics aimed to have a united Ireland while Protestants fought to keep their British allegiance. This still continues today. Many of Belfast's Catholic and Protestant communities remain separated by a network of peace walls. These physical barriers were erected to literally keep the peace. These barriers are not unique to Belfast, with segregated communities evident in other urban centres across Northern Ireland, such as in Derry. The walls were meant to be temporary, but they helped to calm tensions and decrease attacks between the two communities living in close proximity, and they became permanent. Today, many residents who live alongside these walls still want them to remain. One of the main peace walls in Belfast extends along Cooper Way. This peace wall was built to separate the Catholic Falls Road area from the Protestant Shankill Road area. To start this project off, myself and the rest of my studio went on a walk around the Falls Road and the Shankill Road areas. Our aim was to investigate these areas through observations, photographs, drawings, and just catalogue what we consider to be important and of interest. During my walk around these areas, I took lots of photos, and these are some of my favourites. Whilst observing and photographing these areas, I noticed the amount of vacant areas which have become hotspots for antisocial behaviour. The wasteland beside the peace wall on Cooper's Way stood out to me the most. After researching into it further, I learned that the residents in these areas aren't happy about these vacant, abandoned areas either. Quoting a local councillor in that area, Mr. Hutchinson, there are more than 30 sites vacant in the Shankill Road area. He spoke about the large site off Cooper Way, saying, "This site leaves a massive hole in the community and attracts unwanted and antisocial behaviour. You just have to look alongside of the gate and the footpath and you can see the scorch marks from the fires that have been started." I noticed all the vegetation, rubbish and scorch marks that had been mentioned previously. It looked like a bomb had went off because there was just so much stuff everywhere within the vacant site. I analysed the site even further, and as a result I made a layered drawing. These 4 layers represent the road, the walls, the peace walls and the fences, the rubbish and all that can be found in that area, and the vegetation. I also drew this detailed 1 to 200 elevation of one of the fences that can be seen wrapped around the site that I was looking at. Needless to say, this area well and truly reminded me of a bomb site. There was just so much stuff scattered all over the show, and due to this it made me think of a poem by Kieran Carson called Belfast Confetti that I had read last year. Kieran Carson is a poet and a novelist from Belfast. He was born in 1948 and he grew up speaking Irish as his first language. He picked up English words just through playing outside with his friends on the streets. He lived through what came to be known as the Troubles in 1969. He was actually narrowly missed by a bullet when he was in a black taxi on the Falls Road. Belfast Confetti is a term used by people in Northern Ireland, and it means a homemade bomb. In the poem Belfast Confetti, Kieran Carson mentions knots, bolts, car keys, probably a few more things, and it just reminded me of the things that would be found on the ground on this vacant area next to Cooper Way. These are just some photos next to Cooper Way, and I just photoshopped the past and the present. I just thought it was a nice juxtaposition. And then in the middle here you can see I just made a little pull-out thing, and on it has the poem by Kieran Carson. I then went on to make my own version of a homemade bomb. It's 2D and it's made of paper, so it's harmless. I sound very scary. And in it is just a collage of photos that I had taken of items I found on the ground on that site next to Cooper Way. So that's that. um, in my head, I don't know if it really makes sense, but in my head, the things that I see lying on the ground, because it does look like a bomb went off, looks like the things that was inside the bomb. Yeah. I then painted a picture of my site, and it's inspired by Belfast Confetti, the poem. The format and the layout of my painting was heavily inspired by one of René Magritte's paintings. I'm not even going to try and name it because I'll just get it wrong. So the stuff that I seen on the ground that reminded me of what would look like a bomb had went off can be seen scattered throughout the sky in my painting, because it is Belfast's confetti. It is the stuff that's in the homemade bombs, if that makes sense.